jugalah.
Okay, 2 o'clock. Salam to everybody. Can you all hear me? One person confirm, please.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Because last time we have lecture, the slide was not shown, but the student did not inform the lecturer. So you have to let me know if there is support. Sometimes I muted by accident and things like that lah. Yeah. Okay, now there are 62 of us. There are supposed to be 100, right? 100 something, 101 or something. Today we have many topics to cover, so I will go very fast. Yeah, of course. After that, I will upload the files and you can read it slowly later lah. Yeah. Again, I need to inform you all that IDP and FYP are two very different courses compared to your other normal classes lah. Yeah? To your normal courses. Yeah? Because this one, normal courses, you study one chapter and then you do assignment, and then middle of semester you have midterm break and midterm exam. Right? So you take the exam and then again, oh sorry. Okay, so then you have, after midterm you have final exam. Yeah, but my point is, you know when to study, and then as just like other courses, you study, you take the exam, it is done. But FYP and IDP, it is different. Yeah, that's why especially FYP lah, it get delayed. Many students take the third semester to continue finishing. Yeah? So you have to be you have to note the difficulty with these two courses lah. That's why last week I said it is good if you allocate every week 5 hours or 6 hours for IDP. Then because when you keep doing it continuously, then at the end of the semester it will not be a problem. Otherwise, because it is different compared to other courses, many students choose to delay. So delay at the end, it becomes very tough because you have so many things to cover in a short time. Yeah, some students don't sleep for 3 days, 4 days. Yeah, trying to complete the report before the final presentation. Then it becomes very stressful. Yeah? So remember to do the work continuously lah. Yeah. Okay, how many of us now? 76, I think. Okay lah. Yeah, I start with my lecture. Let me share my file. Mana dia? EIA. Okay. One person confirm for me. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will start lecture. If any problem, please let me know straight away. Yeah. Okay. Question before the start of class. EIA is acronym of what? Okay, so these are the general questions lah. We go through, and then after that we look at the notes, and then at the end of the class you go through the questions again. Yeah, if you can answer all these questions, that means you understand the topic lah. Okay, EIA stands for what? It is Environmental Impact Assessment. Yeah. What is translation of EIA in Bahasa Malaysia? Okay. Sometimes people say it is penilaian kesan alam sekitar, yeah? But penilaian actually is evaluation. Yeah? So the correct translation is penaksiran. Yeah? assessment is penaksiran. So penaksiran kesan alam sekitar. Okay, what are activities or project that need or require EIA study? Okay, think about it. If you want to build one house, do you have to do EIA study? No, right? Okay. If you want to build 1,000 house, do you need to produce EIA report? Okay, let's look at the notes after this. Okay, number 4, give one project. Give one example of project in Malaysia that you know any EIA study was done. Okay. Because if you read newspaper or paper online, you will come across articles talking about EIA study, right? Can you recall what project was that? Okay. Oh, this is number 5. What do you think is the main content of an EIA report? Okay, when they do EIA study, of course they will produce EIA report lah. What do you think is inside of the report? Okay. What are the benefits of an EIA study? EIA study is quite expensive. Normally it is maybe 500,000 this many years ago lah. Then if it is detailed study is several millions. Yeah. So what are the benefits of an EIA study? When the government make it mandatory for a developer to produce an EIA study, of course there have to be a very good reason lah, because it is expensive. Yeah. So what are the benefits? We will look at that after this. Okay, environmental impact assessment. EIA is a study to identify, predict, evaluate, and communicate information about the potential impacts on the environment of a proposed project and to detail out the mitigating measures prior to project approval and implementation. Yeah. Okay, so the keywords here, okay? EIA is a study to identify, you make a list, what is it, and then you predict. Yeah, these are things that you don't know yet what will happen, but you predict lah what might happen. Then you evaluate. Evaluate means you give value. Yeah. For example, you want to know the noise level. You give value by you measuring it lah. Okay. For example, how many decibels? Yeah. So you give value. Yeah. And then communicate. Communicate here means you put in report and then you pass it to the public to look at the report lah and give comments, things like that. Okay. So 4 important points there. A study to identify, predict, evaluate, and communicate information about the potential impact of on the environment of the proposed project and detail out the mitigating measures. Okay, so these 2 things are the main content of EIA report lah. You list what are the potential impacts to the environment, and then you list your suggested mitigating measures to reduce the impacts. Yeah? For example, if you have taken the MRT or LRT, right? If it passed close to a residential building, right? Definitely there will be increase in noise level, right? And vibration, things like that. Yeah? So what are the mitigating measures? Okay, they will put noise barrier, okay, to reduce the sound that can be heard by the residents lah. So those are examples lah. Yeah? So basically EIA is study you list out the potential impacts and then you give your suggestion on how to reduce the impact, how to mitigate the impacts. Okay, consider MRT1 extension from Kajan to Projek passing through residential area. Okay, what are the impacts? Just like I said earlier lah, the noise, vibration, and then what else? You need to think about it lah. Pollution ada tak ada, because it is electric. Okay, number 2, EIA is essentially a planning tool for preventing costly mistakes in project implementation. Okay, big points, keywords here are preventing costly mistakes. So that is the benefits of EIA lah. It helps prevent costly mistakes. Okay, why it is costly? Costly due to environmental damages that are likely to arise during project implementation. Okay, sometimes you build a project. For example, okay, let's say you want to build a dam. Okay, when you build a dam, the reservoir will be formed upstream of the dam, right? So the water level will go up. You will inundate a large area, okay? A large area. So your forest will, a large area of the forest will be underwater lah. So that means the tree that are 50 years old, 100 years old will all die. Because of the water impoundment. Yeah. So you have to know, because this thing, let's say after that you remove the dam, you cannot get back the tree that are 50, 100 years old. I mean, you cannot get back the virgin forest. Yeah? So you have to know before you do the project what are the effect on the environment. Yeah? That is one example. Of course, there are many other examples showing the damage to the environment caused by the project. So you have to know first. You have to know what are the damages, and then you let the authority decide, do we continue with the project or not? Okay, costly due to environmental damages, and then costly due to modifications that may be required in order to make the action environmentally sound. Okay, sometimes some project will have impact, right, to the environment. If you did not identify it before doing the project, then you have to solve the problem later on. Yeah? So that means you need to do modifications lah, so that the project will be accepted by all stakeholders. Okay, what are the stakeholders? Of course, the developer, right? The developer put in money. They businesses, they have to make money, they have to make profit, otherwise they will go bankrupt. Yeah? So you have to consider their position also, their perspective. And then of course the public will use the project lah, for example the MRT, whatever, the public will use that facilities, and the public also will bear the consequences of the damage to the environment, etc. Yeah? So public is very important as stakeholders. NGO, okay, you want to satisfy them also, yeah? Of course the government lah. So when you want to build a project, you have to consider all these stakeholders. Yeah? They have to be win-win situation for everybody lah. If the public is very unhappy, they might protest, they might picket, things like that. Right? So then there will be problems. That's why you need to identify what are the effects before, what are the impacts before the project goes on. And then you let the public know they're okay or not. Yeah? If they agree, then only you proceed. Of course, sometimes there are people who are anti everything lah. That one you cannot satisfy everybody, but as long as the majority is okay, then it should be no problem. Okay, number 3. In Malaysia, EIA is required under Section 34A Environmental Quality Act, EQA 1974. Okay. Better decision making can be made regarding the project when EIA integrated into the planning and decision making mechanism by providing additional criteria. Okay, so main point here is you list out all the possible impact, and then you let the authority lah, basically the government, decide lah. So the government can make better decisions when they have all the information, all the correct information. Okay, number 4. Activities subject to EIA are prescribed under Environmental Quality Order 1987. Okay, the activities are called prescribed activities. Yeah? So there are 19 prescribed activities lah. Agriculture, okay, 500 hectares and above. So if you want to tanam jagung 10 hectares, no need EIA. Yeah? And then you have airport, drainage, education, land reclamation, yeah? Greater than 50 hectares. Fisheries, forestry, logging, yeah? Greater than 500 hectares. Housing, okay, I asked earlier, if you want to build one house, do you need to produce EIA report? No. Yeah? If it is bigger than 50 hectares, yes. Industry, infrastructure, ports, mining, petroleum, power generation, quarries, railway, transportation, details are given lah. Yeah? Of course, if you go read the EQA order 1987, there will be more details there. But this gives you enough information lah to know. Okay, EIA in general, EIA can be divided into 3 steps. Yeah? Number 1 is preliminary assessment. Number 2 is detailed EIA. Yeah? The stage taken for this project which presents significant environmental impact lah. Yeah? So the DOE will ask for a detailed study. This will be more expensive lah. You need to collect more data, etc., etc. And then C is review, yeah, done internally by DOE and review panel lah. Okay, number 6. EIA can help reduce the possibility of an environmental disaster. An example is the Bhopal disaster or Bhopal gas tragedy, yeah, which is a gas leak incident in India, considered as one of the world's worst industrial catastrophe. Yeah, this occurred in 1984. Later, if you have time and you like to know more, Google Bhopal disaster. Very, very sad incident. Yeah, because the gas leak killed many people and caused many injuries lah. The injuries is it caused the people to be blind. Yeah, the sort of acid, something like that, damaged the eye, caused people to be blind. Yeah? Very, very sad. Yeah, very, very sad incidents lah. You can read here 558,000 injuries. Yeah. So very, very sad. Yeah. We don't want that. Imagine disaster like this happen in Malaysia because you are careless or you allow bad project to proceed. Yeah, for example. Yeah. So very important to be ethical lah. Yeah? To be ethical, do your job as civil engineer as best as possible. Okay. Number 7, what are the predicted impacts of the following project? Housing development, coastal land reclamation, highway, petrochemical, industry, and airport. Okay, so think about it. This project, if you want to approve this, for example, coastal land reclamation, yeah, you live at coastal area, there will be a coastal reclamation there. What do you think are the impacts? Okay, think about that. Okay, number 8. If you are given a thick book and have only 10 minutes to glance through, what should you do? Okay, my suggestion is you read the table of content, yeah, because it will show you inside. It will show you everything inside the book lah. Likewise, EIA report is very thick. To know what is inside, you look at the table of content. So this is for one project that UKM was involved in. I was also involved in this project lah. It is the monorail project. Before, earlier, it was called People Mover Rapid Transit, PRT. Yeah? So this is the EIA report for that project lah. Yeah? Let's go through. Okay, chapter 1 is introduction. Yeah? Statement of need, route options. Okay, this is basically general information about the project lah. Now, chapter 2, project description. Yeah? Vehicles, track and structures, maintenance. Okay, more information about the project. Yeah? Here you can see construction method for the guideway. Yeah? Implementation schedule. Okay, that basically, more information lah. Okay, now we go to chapter 3, existing physical environment. Yeah? So an EIA report include all this very important chapter, existing physical environment. What info you put there? Okay, you can see here, topography and climate. This is physical environment before the project start. Yeah? So you give data about geology of KL, seismicity, land use, water quality. If there is river, then you take the water sample, you determine water quality. Why? Because later on, if the public complain, okay, your project caused damage to water quality, you have data to prove. No, we check the water quality before the project. It is already like this, for example. Then you protect your project lah from baseless allegation or something like that. Yeah? Same as air quality, noise level. Yeah? You want to know the physical environment before your project. Yeah? Okay, vibration level, existing traffic, biological system, socioeconomy, etc. Yeah? Because if you want to, for example, build a noise barrier, it is expensive. Everything will be expensive. If you want to rehabilitate a river, things like that, it's expensive. So you have to make sure the damage was actually caused by your project, not by other things. Yeah? That's why you need this chapter 3, existing physical environment. Okay, chapter 4. Okay, now I said earlier, main content of EIA report is the list of potential impact and mitigating measures. So you can see here, chapter 4, potential impact and mitigating measures during construction. Let's look at chapter 5, potential impact mitigating measures during operation. So they do both. Yeah? This is during construction, and then after that you also do for during operation. So if you look here, 4.2, list of construction activities. When we want to know or to predict the impact, we have to know what are the activities. Yeah? So you have to know the whole thing about your project, then list what are the construction activities. Then only you can identify what are the potential impacts. Yeah? So you list construction activities and then you consider the impacts in the aspect of geotechnique, water quality, air quality, noise level, vibration level, biological system, socioeconomy, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then chapter 5, the same thing. This one is potential impact mitigating measures during operation. Okay, if you consider MRT operation, MRT project, yeah. During construction, what are the noise? The noise may be piling, right? Preparing foundation and then all the works lah. After project has been completed, is there still noise problem? Yes. When the train pass through, there will be noise. Right? What are the impacts? There are many lah. That's why you have to list. Here, chapter 5, potential impact mitigating measures during operation, and then you list in the aspect of water quality, air quality, blah, blah, blah. Okay, chapter 6 are not really related to EIA lah, but you can go through to understand the content of EIA report. So you have emergency response plans. If there is disaster, things like that, you have to consider that. Okay, chapter 7, environmental quality management program. Okay, environmental monitoring program. So some project, they continue to get data, yeah, during operation, they continue to take data of water quality, noise, vibration, yeah, to make sure that project do not damage the environment. Of course, if the project is you are building a very tall building or something like that, that one no need lah. Yeah, definitely there will be no changes to noise, things like that. Yeah. Okay, chapter 8 conclusion and then priority impact table. Okay, that is basically EIA report lah. Okay, so here is my comment. Number 9, chapter 3 is existing physical environment before the project start. Here you need to get the baseline data. And then later, during construction phase, you get another set of data. Yeah, so that you know your project during construction, what is the impact to the environment. Okay, here in operation stage, you take another set of data. Yeah, so you have all this data, then you can if there are public complaints, etc., you have the data, yeah, to back up your comments lah. For example, my project did not do this, did not do that. Yeah? You have the data to prove it lah. Yeah? Number 10, the difference between these three sets of data, pre, during, and post construction, show the impact of the project on the environment. Yeah? Okay, if the difference is too significant, more mitigating measures need to be added to reduce the negative impacts. Yeah? So you will know what to do based on the data that you collect. Okay, number 11. Another project which UKM was involved in producing EIA report is as follows. From the write-up below, you can get information of the content of an EIA report. Okay, let me check if there is message from Dr. Aizat today. And how many of you here? Let me check. 91. Okay lah. So bad of. Ada record. Okay. We continue. Number 11. Another project which UKM was involved in producing report is as follows. For the write-up below, you can get information of the content of an EIA report. Okay. So this is another project I was involved also. In EIA for installation of barrage across Sungai Pakar, Terengganu. What is barrage? Barrage is a low structure, a structure placed across river, but low lah. Yeah. So meaning if you look from far away, you cannot see. The structure is under the water surface. Yeah. So what is the purpose? It will cause the water level upstream of the barrage to be higher lah, to be increased. Yeah. Okay, so let's go through the report. Yeah? The main content of an EIA report will include the following. Where is my cursor? Okay, here. B, main content of an EIA report. List of project activities. Yeah? You will list down, and then you will list potential impact, and then you will list the propose mitigating measures, yeah, to reduce the impacts. Okay, so the first one, project activities. Okay, so you imagine you want to build a barrage in at Sungai Pakar in Terengganu. Okay, what are the what are the activities for that project? Okay, number one, definitely you have to construct access road, yeah, because you need to bring in your heavy vehicles, yeah, into the project area. So you construct access road lah. Yeah, when you construct access road, there is already impact to the environment. Okay, and then okay, what do you do next? Okay, definitely there will be many workers there. Yeah, many workers. So you will build a base camp. Okay, the workers need to be there lah. Yeah, because this project is in remote area. Yeah, so they cannot rent a house in Pakar Sungai at Pakar City, something like that, and then commute. It will be a waste of time. Yeah, so it is best to build a base camp. Yeah, so when you build a base camp, what is the impact? Okay, and then the next step is site clearing. Yeah, when you want to do your project, in most cases you will remove the vegetation. So you bring in the bulldozer, do the site clearing, and then you do earthworks. Earthworks is because when you want to do construction, right? If it is hilly area, but you cannot do your project on hilly area. Yeah, that's why you have to determine what is your platform level, which is level of construction, and then decide which part to cut, which part to fill. Okay, for your project, the same thing lah. Yeah? Your project, you IDP 1, yeah, at the end of the semester, you will present about earthworks. What is your platform level for construction, and then how much cut, how much fill. Cut mean if it is hill area, you remove the soil, and then you fill in low lying area, so that you get a nice platform level for your project. Okay, then drainage alteration. Remember when you develop an area, definitely there will be increase in discharge because you remove trees that hold water. Yeah, so the Q will increase. Yeah? So when Q increase, there will be flood if you do not increase the if you do not increase the drainage capacity. One moment. Otherwise, I lose my voice. And then a supply of construction material. So you have to imagine the sequence of things that you need to do at your project. Yeah, these are, for example, transportation of material equipment, piling, material storage handling, blah blah blah. So there are many activities. After you list down the activities, then you start to think about the impacts. Yeah, of each of these activities, each of the component of the activities. Okay, let's look at the impacts. So it will look like this lah. The construction of access road impacts. Yeah, erosion of soil and rock may occur during raining time. Okay, so when you construct access road, definitely you will remove the vegetation on that soil, right? Because you want to put in the gravel, yeah, the small stone. Yeah. So if it rains, then the rainwater will carry the loose soil into the river. Yeah. So this is the impact. So what are the measures? What do you do to solve that problem? Okay, drainage ditches must be well designed. Okay, another impact, visibility reduced due to dust cloud generated by vehicles or disposed by wind gusts. Yeah? So although you put in the gravel, right, but of course there will be loose soil also. Yeah? Loose soil, if it is dry and windy, then there will be dust clouds. You know? So what are measures you can take? Water should be lightly sprayed onto affected area. Okay, impacts, permanent removal of vegetation and loss of species. Okay, measures in the exposed area need to be turfed as soon as possible. So you can see here how you list down the list of activities and then the impacts and then the measures. So that way basically you tackle one by one all the possible problems. Okay, let's look here. impacts. Earth disturbance would increase water turbidity and suspended solids. Yeah? Some developer, because they want to save cost, right? When they rent a bulldozer, they bulldoze everything. Yeah, so that is not good to the environment. Yeah? Some tree, you should minimize it, the removal of trees. Yeah? Because when you minimize, that means at the place where there are trees, the root of the trees continue to hold the soil, so you don't have much erosion there. Yeah. So here the measure said earth disturbance should be minimized. Cut as few trees as possible. Disturb earth surface and slope should be recompacted and planted with grass as soon as possible. So when you compact, you spray grass seeds. The grass grow, and then there will be less erosion after that lah. Yeah? Impact. Construction of access road can be hazardous to local people and the public. Okay, measures and warning and signboard. So you can see how you basically tackle one by one all the possible problem that might arise. Okay, let's look at base camp. Base camp will have its own problem. Improper disposal of sanitary wastewater and garbage could lead to pollution. Okay, measures provide sufficient number of mobile toilets. Yeah, and then garbage should be collected. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So you go through one by one to understand site clearing, what are the impacts, what are the measures. Earthworks, what are the impacts. This thing for your end of semester presentation, you need to put in also. Yeah, I ask you to provide one chapter for EIA. Yeah? So that you need to think the component of your project. But main points already in here lah. Yeah? You just look at which one suitable, which one fit your project, which one doesn't fit your project. Don't copy paste everything. Then we know, then we punish lah by giving you low marks, things like that. Yeah? Because each project have different list of activities. Yeah? Then definitely the impacts and measures will be different lah. Okay, so this one notes gathered online. So this one I just Google and then copy paste here lah. Yeah. This one you can read by yourself lah. Yeah. Environmental definition, environmental assessment, objective. Why do we need EIA? Here, preventing environmental problem. Seek to avoid costly mistake. Yeah. Remember Bhopal incident? We don't want 500,000 Malaysian to be seriously ill. Yeah, things like that. So that's why EIA very important to protect the public mostly lah, yeah? And also to protect the environment. Okay, regulation in Malaysia regarding EIA, EQA 1974 prescribed activities. Okay, so you can, if you want details, you can Google and go to this EQA 1974 right up. Okay, this one more things I gathered online lah. This one I let you read lah. Okay, this is not really homework. This is actually part of your project lah. Yeah? For your IDP project, you need to produce one chapter titled Environmental Impact Assessment. Yeah? Must be included in your final semester report. You have two presentation. Number one is sustainability at Luang Loop 2. The one in middle of semester. End of semester, you have the earthwork and concept design report. Okay, so you put in the end of the semester one. Yeah? Inside there, you need a list of construction activities for your project lah, potential impact and mitigating measures. Okay, any question about this? Class? Any question? Yeah. Tak ada question Okay, nanti you baca lah. You can read yourself. I will share this one. I want to go to the next topic. Let me tukar my tajuk. Mana dia? Let me change the slide. Okay, and then okay, I will share this one. Now 94 first. Okay. Sekejap. Okay, can one person confirm me? Can you see the slide erosion sediment control plan?
Can.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Can, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. Erosion and sediment control plan, ESCP. If you are civil engineer, you have to be very familiar lah with this. Again, because we want to protect our environment. Erosion and sediment. So when you come across ESCP, remember it stands for Erosion Sediment Control Plan, meaning the plan you put in place to control erosion and to control sediment. Okay, number one, most development require clearance of vegetation from the project site. Removal of trees and vegetation result in production of loose soil. We know this lah. And when it rains, the rainwater will carry this loose soil into drainage system and eventually into river. So if there are so much of this loose soil, then the river will become shallow. And then when there are monsoon season or heavy rain, you might have localized flood because of this. That's why we want to protect our environment. It will cause damage to our property, things like that. Number two, deposition of loose soil in drain and river resulted in reduction of capacity of drainage system. Look at Lake Kejutan. Many years ago, it was a very large lake, but there are projects that mistakes that didn't follow proper ESCP. So the soil from the project area carried by rainwater into the lake. That's why now our lake is very damaged. Basically, the capacity much reduced. Okay, let's look at number three. A lake functions include, what are the benefits of a lake? It helps in flood mitigation. It reduces peak flow. Reduction of peak flow can avoid flash flood from happening. Okay, it also acts as sediment trap for pollutants. Some vegetation absorb heavy metals. If you remember Putrajaya Lake, they have wetlands. Water from the river will pass through wetlands and then only enter Putrajaya Lakes. So the wetlands remove the pollutants. They plant some vegetation to absorb heavy metals from the water. So the water become much cleaner. Okay, dredging process to remove silt and sediment from river is very expensive. For Kejutan Lake, if you are to dredge the soil and get the original lake, they make a calculation. It will cost, if I'm not mistaken, 3 million or something. To dredge all the silt from the lake. Very expensive. Okay, number 5, erosion of soil from slope can result in slope failure and very expensive process to repair the slope. The better option is to adopt erosion and sediment control plan. So you follow what is in the ESCP. Then you will not cause damage to the environment. In Malaysia, it is now mandatory for many local authorities. So let's say you want to do a project in Kajang or in Bangi. Okay, so you have to prepare ESCP for your project area. What is the plan to solve this erosion and sediment problem? So you produce this plan and then pass to authorities. I think Dewan Majlis Pembandaran Kajang MPKJ. You pass the authority, they will go through your plan. If it is okay, they will approve. Then only you can start your work. So same as for this IDP project Actually, you have to produce the ESCP first, and then if it is okay, then only you can start your project. Meaning you can build your access road, you can clear the vegetation, things like that. Okay, so let's go through the effect of the showing how serious the problem of erosion and sedimentation. So I Google photo online So you can see here, when you see water like this, what does it mean? Here it is clean, right? Clean water, not much suspended solids. Meaning upstream here there is not much erosion, but this river branches upstream, definitely there is erosion happening From what? Most likely there are people clearing the soil. They remove the vegetation. When you remove the vegetation, you produce loose soil. That loose soil will then enter the river. Okay, here is another example. You can see clear water, and then this is water filled with solids. suspended solids. Here is another example. This river upstream is okay. This one, this small river, yeah, there are erosion upstreams. This another example, something's happening upstream. This satellite photo, is it? This show very serious erosion upstream. Yeah? This is at sea already, I think. If it is at sea, not so bad lah, because the tidal etc. will remove this sediment. But if it is a lake, then your lake will become smaller, and then it will become like Lake Kejuruteraan, damage. Okay, the impact. We construct dam to produce water reservoir to get our reliable supply of clean water. If sediment or suspended solid accumulate in water reservoir, the reservoir gradually loses its ability to store water. So the storage capacity become less. So you can see here, if it is a reservoir for water supply, then this one already filled with sediment. Here also there will be a lot of sediment. So you lose the function of the reservoir, which is to supply fresh water. Okay, why is it bad when sediment enter river and lake? Okay, number one, the position of sediment will reduce capacity of the river. Flood may occur if you have heavy rain, big flow, big runoff. Then the capacity of the river is not enough. It will overflow the river banks. Then you have flood. Okay. Number two, why it is bad? Number two is because water quality in the river will go down, because when you have suspended sediment, right? Then that means for water quality go down, then it is also not aesthetically pleasing lah. And if you have fish and various animals inside, it will affect all these animals. It is not healthy to them also. Number three, high TSS is harmful to the ecosystem as it blocks sunlight. Plankton and vegetation in the river cannot do photosynthesis. So you damage the whole ecosystem. Suspended solid is harmful to the ecosystem. Because if the plankton vegetation cannot do their photosynthesis, then maybe they start to die off, and then after that the fish will die, and then the ecosystem will be damaged. Number four, high TSS affect organism and animal living in rivers such as fish. Okay, question. You are a civil engineer at a large construction site where large area need to be cleared of vegetation. What can you do to avoid what happened above? You can see how the sediment carried by the water into the river. So you don't want that happening at your project. What do you do? Okay, some people protect the environment because they don't want to not because they love the environment, but because they are afraid of penalty. So think along that line also lah. Because if the authority find out you are damaging the environment, they can give you a stop work order. Stop work order, you cannot do anything for what? Until you solve the problem, for example. Then it will cost you a lot of money. The project, the owner of the project will be very angry, will be very unhappy. Because when you stop work for, let's say, 2 weeks, for example, it costs a lot of money. So follow regulation, follow the ESCP, and then avoid the problems. Okay, my question here is, what can you do? Let's look at what you can do. Okay, to avoid this problem, construction industry need to adopt best management practices. We have this short form BMPs. Look at MASMA manual for the chapter on BMPs. I think you got the soft copy, right? If you don't, Google that soft copy of all MASMA. Go through the table of content. Find the chapter on BMP, best management practices. Okay, class, for IDP, as I said earlier, it is different. IDP and FYP is different compared to your other courses. This one you have to do all the work yourself. You have to search the manual, read through the manuals, and then meaning a lot of self-learning. Other courses, you have the textbook, you read, and then you understand the chapter, and then you take your MISEM and final, and done, and everything is done. But IDP is different. There are many manuals for JKR, for DID, etc. You need to go through. You need to read all these manuals to understand how to do the design. Yeah. So you have to. That's why it becomes problematic to many students, because it is different compared to other courses. So I have introduced to you in hydrology class in second year, right? I have introduced to you MASMA manual. So go to MASMA manual. There are many chapters. Find chapter on BMPs. There are info there lah. Yeah. So please add all this in your IDP final report with more contents. Meaning take out lah the main points from your MASMA manual tu. Then you can put into your IDP report lah, concept design-nya. Okay, here I list lah what you can do. Among BMPs that can be done. Again, what is BMPs? BMPs is best management practices. Okay, these are things that you can do. Number one, scheduling. Plan properly the sequence of construction activities to reduce duration of times soil are exposed to wind and rain. Avoid land clearance activities during rainy period. For example, your project is in Kelantan, in East Coast, and you know in East Coast, October, November, December is monsoon season. A lot of rain. Sometimes it rains every day for 1 week or 2 weeks. Yeah, maybe light rain, but it continues. Yeah? So you can imagine if you clear the land at that time, the rainwater will carry so much sediment into the river. Yeah. So you have to schedule it properly lah, plan it. Yeah. And then reduce duration of time soil are exposed. Meaning you clear and then you immediately put gravel and then turf, things like that lah. Compact it or some, and then spray grass, etc., etc. Yeah. Okay, number 2, preserve existing environment. Preserve existing vegetation. Remove only the necessary vegetation. Yeah, as I said earlier, don't bulldoze everything. Yeah, some contractor, they want to make it easy. Yeah, easy for them lah. Remove everything and then they don't have to rent the bulldozer again. Yeah, but maybe you save money there. But when there is a lot of sedimentation, erosion, etc., DOE give you a stop work order for 1 month. Then you lose a lot of money. So it is not worth it. Yeah? Protect the environment. Then you will not be penalized severely lah. Yeah? Okay, remove only the necessary vegetation. Plant so that exists corridor of vegetation to separate disturbed land from adjacent waterways. Kejap apalah saya ni. Cincang-cincang lah ya. Ada. Apa saya nak sebut? Oh, this is interesting. Plan so that exists corridors of vegetation to separate disturbed land from adjacent waterways. Yeah? So you don't, if you bulldoze everything, then the soil, rainwater can easily carry the soil into the river. But if you allow there to be a corridor of vegetation to separate disturbed land from adjacent waterways, yeah, then you can reduce the possibility of the sediment entering the river, things like that. Okay, number 3 is also important. Stabilize the soil where possible by spraying grass seeds, yeah, to protect the exposed soil. Mulching. Okay, what is mulch? Mulch is wood chips. Yeah? If you cut down a trees and then you put it into what do they call that? Shredder. Yeah. Then what come out will be wood chips, small chips of woods. Yeah? That is called mulch. So mulching means you cover the exposed soil with that wood chips. Yeah? Okay, number 5, use physical stabilization method. Yeah? You can use synthetic matting or other things lah, natural or synthetic mat. Example is here lah, I Google. Yeah? So this is I think natural matting punya. From this maybe the coconut husk, yeah? They make it into a mat and then just cover it. So this will significantly reduce erosion. Yeah? Normally, if you don't have this, the rainwater come down. It contains energy because it comes from high up, right? So the impact from the soil will dislodge the soil particles. So the rainwater will carry it to the river. Okay, number 6, dust control, spray water and expose soil, especially during windy times. Okay, number 7, temporary waterway crossing must be constructed. This depend on the location of your project lah. Yeah, what is the condition of your project site? Yeah? If you have a large flow of water, then you need to prepare you need to construct a temporary waterway lah. Yeah? Okay, imagine this is your project site, yeah, and you don't build this temporary waterway. Yeah? So meaning when the heavy machinery want to pass through, it will pass through the banks of the river. Right? So you can imagine the river banks will be damaged, and then as water pass through, it will carry so much sediment downstream. So imagine that if there is heavy rain, large flow, then so much of this will be eroded lah. Without the temporary waterway, heavy machinery will cause failure to the banks of the waterway. Rainwater will erode the bank and increase erosion. So if you do it like this, then the erosion is significantly reduced. Okay, number 8, access road must be stabilized. Yeah, because we know heavy machinery will continue to use access road. So you stabilize it, how? By compacting the soil, by spraying grass seed. Yeah, as the seed grow, the root will hold the soil together. Things like that lah. Diversion runoff. Okay, this is also interesting. Using a bank or other method, surface runoff must be diverted from entering disturbed area to reduce erosion. Macam mana ni? Surface runoff must be diverted. Okay, let's say you have a hill to the left. Okay, when it rains, the hill water will flow down, and then if it enters this disturbed area like this, it will carry all the soil from this area into the river. So here you divert the flow from the hills, you divert somewhere else so that it doesn't enter this area. Yeah? Okay, build slope drain. Okay, for your project, you will need to do this lah, because you will use forest reserve of UKM. Yeah, forest reserve of UKM is hilly area. So you need to have all this when you build your retaining walls, or at some places maybe you produce natural berm. Retaining wall very expensive, huh? Retaining wall. Remember, when you design for your project, you do it based on the 4 criteria. One of it is cost. What are the 4? Safety, cost, sustainability, and societal. Yeah? So you want to reduce cost as much as possible. What can you do? As I said earlier, retaining wall very expensive. So you can produce natural berm. Natural berm like this, you cut, and then there is slope, and then flat, something like this. Okay? So when you produce natural berm, you need to build the drain. Okay, you can see here, this is cut-off drain. So if there is a hill, very high hill on the right side, rainwater from the hills will flow and then enter here. Then it will enter the cut-off drain, and then it will be channeled somewhere lah. Because if it flow over the slope, there will be a lot of erosion. Okay? You want to avoid that. Okay, so this is the objective of cut-off drain. And then you have cascade drain. So water will enter here, and then it will flow inside the channel here. So there will be less erosion. Then you have berm drain. This is natural berm. Between the berm, you have drain. You have some, and then you have at the bottom here toe drain. Okay. So for your project, you need this. Yeah? Okay, it will look like this. Where do you see this? We often come across things like this lah. Where?
At highway.
Correct. Highway, we have a lot of hill area. When you pass through hill area, you will have this lah. Okay, if you look at the side, yeah, it will look like this. Okay, this is not maintained because the soil, when the soil fill up this drain, right, then the water will start to flow out. Then you have erosion. Yeah, so it has to be maintained. If it is maintained, then no problem. Water will flow, accumulate here, and then channel along here, and then it will enter this cascade drain, and then go down to the large drain at the bottom of the highway . at the bottom of the apa tadi the toe drain tadi. Yeah. Here toe draining normally will be big lah, because to design the size of this, you need to calculate the Q or the Q. Yeah. So here I expect the size to be big because it will, or the water will flow to this drain. Okay, so this is cascade drain. Okay, you can also do flow velocity reduction. Yeah, how do you reduce the flow velocity? Okay, you can do like this. By constructing a check dam, it will look like this. If we go through, I don't think we will have to visit. I don't know, Dr. Azab will decide whether we will do the tour of loop 1, loop 2. If we do, actually, we have this check dam close to College Zabah, I think. The aim is to reduce the flow velocity, because when you reduce the flow velocity, there will be less erosion. Yeah? If rainwater flow very fast, it will remove the grass, right? When the grass has been removed, the soil will start to be eroded lah. Then you have erosion problem. Or it will look like this lah. Yeah? Water come in and then the flow become reduced. It was blocked by this, yeah, by this check dam. So flow reduction occur lah. Okay, here you can also construct sediment fence. Yeah? Filter fabric is stretched across waterway. So when you do like this, you reduce the velocity of flow. If it is on hillside, you can also do like this. This is macam coil lock lah, macam coconut husk. They make it into a coil. Then you have I think a wood stake. You drive it into the ground. It will hold the coil lock like this. Yeah. So when it rains, it will slow the flow of water. Yeah. Of course, you need to spray grass seed here also. Yeah. They have this erosion problem here. So to solve it, they put the coil lock here. Then I believe they also spray grass seed lah. Slowly the grass will grow again, and then you solve the erosion problem here. Okay, you can see here. Without the barriers, water will flow very fast. Yeah, we erode the bed of the channel. So when you put barrier, the flow becomes slow. Then grass can also grow. Okay, this one you read yourself. Okay, you can also construct heavy-duty silt fencing or sediment fence. Okay, I said earlier, when you have a hill, right, rainwater will flow very fast down. So if the rainwater from the hills pass through your project area, it will carry a lot of this silt. Yeah? So here, to solve that problem, to avoid that from happening, they put a silt fence here or sediment fence here. So the rainwater will flow down from the hills and then flow alongside here, and then channel to a river or something lah. But it will not cause erosion at your site. Okay, so imagine for your project later, because you will construct buildings, things like that, you want to avoid this from happening at your project area. Okay, you can see here how the sediment fence is constructed. So when there is no fast flow or heavy flow in the project area, then there will be not much erosion lah. It will look like this, sediment fence. Okay, this is how you drive it into the ground. Or this is another form of it, different one. Okay, you can also use sediment trap. It is small temporary ponding area, usually with a gravel outlet. Water from the slope will flow very fast. The pond allows silt in water to settle to the bottom. Okay, so you can build a pond. Water will flow into the pond and accumulate here. Okay, and then you have gravel here. So water will seep through. Yeah, it will be clean water lah, and then the sediment will be trapped. Yeah, this is upstream side lah. Clean water will pass through and flow downstream. So that means when you do like this, clean water, water that flow from your project area into the river will be clean. Yeah, you solve the erosion problem from your project area. Okay, you can also construct sediment basin. It will look like this. Yeah? Water from your project area will flow and accumulate in the basin. Yeah? Then because the basin is big, yeah, the velocity of water here will be small. Yeah? Then the silt can fall down to the bottom of the basin. Yeah? So you remove the silt from the discharge, from the flow. Okay, we look like this. Okay, here rainwater will flow, water level will go up will go up, and then when it reach this level, I think the water will enter here, and then we channel downstream. So meaning all the silt will be collected here. Yeah? Water at the top will be much cleaner, yeah? Much cleaner. Then only it enter and then channel downstream. Okay, this is the effect of sediment erosion. Erosion, it will cause slope failure. So I Google and pass through. I Google and read about this article. Yeah, photo showing a failed slope, red earth. Note the masonry drain at the bottom. Okay, this is masonry drain, a rubble wall. So this, to repair this, going to be expensive, right? We see many of these slope failure at highways. Yeah, normally they will remove all this soil and then they put in a new several ways lah. They put in a new batu-batu, this big rubble, and then they cement it. Yeah? So after that it will look different lah, but expensive. Yeah. Apa dia ni? What do I want to say here? Photo showing a failed slope. Okay, not the masonry drain at the bottom. Yeah. What happens here? What caused this damage? What do you think started the problem here? Okay, if you look here, there is a drain here, right? I think what started is there is seepage here. There is damage to the connection between the U-shaped drain. So when there is damage to the connection, water go under the drain. Yeah, seep under the drain, and then it start to soften the soil on the left and right. Yeah, and then after that the whole thing just collapse. Yeah? Okay, my explanation. This is concrete drain with masonry or stonework arranged on top. Yeah, also called rubble wall. Yeah? We see so many of this this rubble wall. Yeah? So water will flow through. We have a U-shaped drain at the bottom. It will look like this. Yeah, precast U-shaped concrete drain. Yeah. Okay, how do you connect? It will. Okay, this is U-shape. Note the connection. You have U-shape and then another U-shape drain. You connect it with cement. Yeah, cement. So after several years, sometimes there is damage here. Yeah, there is breakage here. So when there is breakage here, water will seep into the ground here. When it seeps into the ground, it will soften the soil under the drain. Yeah? So after that, the whole thing will come down. Then there will be more and more breakage. After that, when you have heavy flow, the water will seep to the side. Yeah? So when it seeps to the side, then you have this problem. Yeah? Seep to the side during big flow. When it seeps to the side, it softens the soil here. Start to sit and then the whole thing collapse. Yeah? Then it will be costly to repair. If you repair it early on, when you have problem here, yeah, small leakage, you repair it, then it will not become big like that. This is much cheaper. Why I tell you this story? Because in Malaysia we don't have this culture of maintaining our infra. Yeah? We don't maintain. So after that, when the damage become bigger and bigger, then it become very costly, very expensive to repair it. Yeah? Hopefully your generation, there will be changes to that, improvement to that. Yeah? Okay, this is another thing. Note the failure in the concrete drain wall below. How do you think the failure most likely started? Okay, here you can see, yeah, breakage here. Yeah, concrete you cannot do much This one you have to remove Yeah, but how does it start? I think it's the same thing. Yeah? There is small breakage in connection between U-shaped drain, and then this thing collapse. I mean, when there is breakage, water will seep under the drain, and then soften the soil. After that, more and more drain collapse, and then water will seep to the side, and then this thing collapse. Yeah? And then after that, remain to be seen. If you don't repair it, maybe if there is very big flow, maybe after this wall will start to collapse also. Yeah? Because when you soften the soil, the water can soften the soil, and then it cannot take loads. Yeah, it cannot be it cannot take the weight of the concrete. Yeah? So it collapses. Okay, my point is we need to maintain our structures, as it will fail and the cost to repair it will be very high. Okay, I'll give you another example. This is another photo showing concrete drain with masonry arranged above to protect the slope. Yeah? This rubble wall, the drain and then rubble wall, and then okay. Here I give you another example what happened to Puri Pujangga at UKM. Yeah? I think you know this one. Yeah? Puri Pujangga Hotel in UKM. This is from the other entrance lah. This is next to Kamsis Rahim Kaja, I think. Right? And next to the road to Kamsis Ibu Zain, something like that. Yeah? So this is Puri Pujangga. Okay, in the past the drain is like this. Okay, Puri Pujangga is to the right. Okay, there is a big drain here. Yeah, big drain here, and then you have your U-shaped drain, and then rubble wall. Yeah. Okay, I Google because when there is a big damage here during heavy flow, I wonder what happened. So I Google, then I come across this is your senior. Then I noticed the drain. You can see here the rubble drain was not maintained. Yeah. So when you don't maintain, the water seep and soften the soil behind, behind the rubble wall. So after that, this whole thing collapsed. Last time during heavy flow, very big hole. The water washed away the whole drainage, and then also the side, the left and right banks of the drain. Okay, this you can see the concrete and then the rubber wall. This whole thing washed away. Okay, this is how Puri Pujangga looks like nowadays. Drain is gone, replaced by underground culvert. Total cost to repair is 700,000. Yeah, aesthetic of the area now is not as nice as before. Yeah, let's look at how it looks like now. Okay, there used to be a big drain here. Yeah, now they put underground culvert and just cover everything. Yeah, so it is no longer as nice as before. Yeah? Why? Because we don't maintain. Yeah, when the problems start to appear, if you repair it at that time, it is not expensive. Yeah? But when you allow it to become more and more damage, then it becomes very expensive. 700,000 to solve that problems there. Okay, the lesson is we must do maintenance work immediately. So some of you last time during industrial training work do maintenance work, right? So you know how important it is to do it regularly, to do it well, so that the damage doesn't become bigger and bigger. Yeah? Because if not, then it will become very expensive to repair it lah. Okay, I think that is all. This one concrete drain okay, you can see this one. I don't want to go through. Okay, coilox, also called fiber rolls, fiber from outer husk of coconut. Yeah, we know coconut, the old one. Yeah, it will have this husk. Yeah? So you remove it and you can do it like this lah. Yeah, coil mesh mat. Yeah? So you can do this for matting. Synthetic matting. Okay, below coilox protect newly planted vegetation from erosion. Okay, so you can use this. Here, coilox act as obstruction across flow path, which slow the flow and reduce erosion of the slope. Okay, so imagine when heavy rain comes down, when you have coilox, it reduces the velocity of the flow lah. Okay? So then there will be less erosion. Okay, this one, coilox arranged to protect river banks. Yeah? wave from river from passing boat will not erode the bank, thus no bank failures. Okay, imagine a big boat, yeah, pass through very fast, yeah. So the wave will hit the river banks, and then the energy from the wave will remove the vegetation and will cause the river banks to collapse. Yeah? So to protect, you can do like this. You can use coil lock. So the energy from the wave will hit this coil lock and dissipate it. Yeah? So it will not damage the river banks. Geocell or geowax. Okay, this is another thing that you can do. Yeah. Oh, okay. Class, I am introducing all these things that you might want to consider using later on when you do your project. Yeah? Because your project is on a hilly area, yeah? You have to protect your riverbanks, and your duty is to suggest, to put into your design the things to protect the environment. Yeah? So all these things you can choose to do . Of course, you need to be able to defend yeah? If it is cost. If in the aspect of cost it is suitable or not. You cannot just use all very expensive methods because then you are not designing based on the 4 criteria. Yeah? One of it is cost. Okay, let's look at geocell or geoweb. Geocells are 3-dimensional blankets of interconnected cells which are placed on slope, secured in position using pins and filled with soil. Yeah? So it looks like this. Yeah? Like this, you fill it with soil, and then you will spray grass seed. Then the grass will grow. Yeah? So when it is one unit like this, it is difficult for it to fail. Yeah? Because this synthetic material will last a long time. Because then you will not have slope failure. You will not easily have slope failure because the whole thing act as a unit, right? If for it to fail, the whole thing has to come off. Yeah? Okay, so you can see here, this is another form of geocell. You can fill it with soil or with rocks. So imagine if it is rock, the weight of the rock will also help in holding this thing together. Okay, so note how geoweb reduces erosion by slowing flow of water over it. Energy in water dissipated as it flowed through the holes. Yeah? Of course, later on the grass will grow in all this area and hold the soil even more. Yeah? Controlling erosion in coastal and waterway slope. Okay, these are things you can do. Okay, geocell also lah. Geocell also. This one not really related lah. Flushing sediment gate. Okay, this one not really related, but I just show you what it is lah because I think it is interesting. Yeah, if the drain is very flat. Okay, to design drainage, there is a certain slope you need to cater to lah, because we want to achieve certain velocity. It is 3 feet per second. Yeah, you don't want to go higher than that because very fast flow will cause erosion. Yeah? Very slow flow is also not good. Why? Because sediment will start to be deposited, yeah, inside your drain. Yeah? So the optimum velocity stated is 3 feet per second or 1 meter per second. Yeah? So for this case, sediment flushing gate. Here the slope of the drain is not high enough. Yeah? So sediment is deposited. So this is interesting thing lah. They introduce something. The concept is you block the flow. Okay, then water level will rise up. After it reaches certain elevation, it will push the door open. Okay, it will push the door open. When it push the door open, the velocity will be higher. Then it will flow fast, and it will remove the deposited sediments. Yeah? Concept is interesting. I don't know how effective it is, but the idea is interesting lah. Yeah? Okay, this one you read yourself lah. Yeah? Flushing gate. Yeah? Okay, you will learn more about slope failures in geotechnic classes. I will leave you with this photo showing serious slope failure of embankment next to a highway. Okay, what is the mistake here? What do you think is the mistake here? If you have like this, okay, who this project, right, constructing a highway, right? Of course, you will do cut and fill lah. Yeah, you will. As I said earlier, you will produce natural berm, right? And then maybe some place you will put retaining wall, things like that. But when you, after you finish your project, for example, and then this happened, what do you think the problem is? Where is the mistake? Okay, so I leave you to think about this lah. Because when you work as civil engineer, if this thing happen to your project, you mati lah kan, pitam lah, yeah. Because then they will start the investigation, they will find out who made the mistake, and then you will go to court, and then maybe they take away your license to perform as a civil engineer. Yeah? If there is a bus here, the landslide cause, for example, 40 people in the bus to die. Yeah, then there is very big possibility for you to go to jail if you make that mistake. Yeah. So business, yeah. Remember the 4 criteria: safety, cost, sustainability, and societal. Remember that you never want to see things like this happening to your project, yeah, because then it will be very tough lah to go through the process of court, and then that if you go to jail because it caused death to people, things like that. What happened to your family, blah blah blah. Yeah. So remember, very serious thing lah. Design is very important thing. Jangan, don't do unethical thing, accepting bribes, yeah, from contractor, because the contractor will use smaller steels, and then what happened if the building collapse? They come back to you. You are the resident engineer. You have to make sure the correct steel are used. Yeah, of course they will also go after the contractor lah for cheating. But you, as a site engineer or residence engineer, you sign, yeah, because you check everything. Yeah. So again, be ethical. Do your work properly as civil engineer. Yeah, so that we don't want you when you are retired and then the building collapse, then they call you and then you go to court, etc. You cannot retire in peace. Remember the structure you build. Let's say you build a building 30 story. You design building 30 story, 40 story. Yeah, there is mistake in your design, and then the building collapse 30 years after it had been constructed. Yeah, so you thought after 1 year, 2 years, no problem, right? No, you are responsible for that buildings the rest of your life. Okay, so do it well. Don't make mistakes. Yeah, don't do unethical things lah. Okay, any question about that, class? Any question? Tak ada ya? I will unshare this one. Now I will change to the next slides. Now I will share. Okay, can you see that our third slide, best management practices? One person confirm for me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So these are more information about BMPs, best management practices. Yeah, there are many things that can be considered as BMPs. Okay, they are all improvement done to system or way of doing things in construction, etc. To improve. Yeah, basically all improvement done to system or way of doing things in construction. If it makes it better, then it is considered best management practices. Yeah. Okay, one of it here, monitoring. Yeah, monitoring play an important role in design and operation of stormwater facilities. Yeah. Okay, I talked earlier about this baseline data. Yeah? Baseline monitoring, we do this to get baseline data. It will tell the prevailing data before you start the project. Yeah? In the aspect of water quality, it tells the original condition before you start your project. And then you have this event monitoring. The first one is baseline monitoring. Then you have event monitoring. We do this to get the condition of the current condition when you are doing your construction. Okay. Then you also have stormwater treatment measure performance monitoring. These are, all the types of monitoring that exist. Okay, filtration using swales. Okay, if you remember in hydrology class last time, your second year, I introduced you to swales. Okay, swale is considered a sustainable drainage lah. Yeah, we have the normal concrete drain, or we can also use swale. Swale is considered green drainage system. Yeah. Why? Okay, let's read on. Okay, stormwater carries pollutant into drains and eventually into rivers. This pollutant can be from point source like factory or non-point source like gaseous pollutants from car that found the ground. Okay, use of swale and vegetated strip can filter these pollutants. So there is benefit of swales because you have grass inside it, so it will filter out all the pollutants. Okay, this one I already shown to you in hydrology class last time. Yeah? It's the same thing lah. Here, University of Malaysia, it doesn't use concrete drain, it uses swale. So you can see it look like this lah. So you imagine when it rains, yeah, water will flow and then accumulate here, but a large portion of water will infiltrate into the ground. Yeah? And then the water that pass through will be much cleaner because all the gases, everything will be trapped by the grasses. Okay, you can see example of swale. This is from Masma. Okay, this is from overseas. Yeah, they also use swale. Parking area. Okay, there will be a lot of if there is diesel leak, whatever gaseous pollutants accumulate on the road. When it rains, rainwater will carry it into the swale here. So the grass will trap the pollutants. So the water that pass through, flow to the river will be much cleaner. So you can imagine it will look like this. Then it enter into the underground drain or something. Yeah. Okay, more example of swales. Okay, what are the advantages of swale? Number one, water is stored in this hollow. This reduces cubic discharge. Yeah. So there is big benefit lah because you allow water to infiltrate into the ground. Number two, water is allowed to infiltrate into the ground, allow grass and trees to get water and grow. So if you pave everything, then it is difficult for water to infiltrate into the ground. Then the amount of water that the trees can get from the ground become much less lah. So this way it is good to the trees. Yeah? The trees can get as much water as it needs lah. Number three, erosion problem will be reduced because the speed of flow is reduced. Yeah? And then number four, this is big point. Non-point source pollutants such as hydrocarbon gases from car exhaust will be trapped by grass and will not enter river. Rubbish on the ground will also be trapped. So you can imagine if you use system like this, water that flow into the river will be much cleaner. Yeah. Okay, this one also it looks nice lah because there will be a lot of rubbish etc. here, and also the hydrocarbon gases from the car exhaust etc. Yeah, settling down on the parking area. So when it rains, the rainwater will carry it here inside the swale. Then this thing will filtrate it. Then only clean water will enter the river. Okay, this one is mulching. Yeah? On the hillside, okay, you dug a hole and then you put in wood chips. So when it rains, rainwater will accumulate in the hole you dug, yeah, and then infiltrate into the ground. Yeah. Some of it will be held by the wood chips, by the mulch. So this will help the trees to get water, etc. Okay, so many photos of swales. Okay, why they put stones here? Okay, normally because the flow here will be faster. I think. Yeah, faster, so to protect the grass here, they put some stone. Yeah. So the water will hit the stone, the energy will dissipate. Yeah. So you reduce the energy inside the water. What is underneath the swale? Okay, it will look like this. Yeah, it is not just grass. Yeah? You have small stone and then you have a pipe. So water will infiltrate, filtered by the stone, and then enter the pipe and then flow downstream. Okay, this one, the capacity is not much lah. If you want bigger capacity, you can do like this. You can put rock, yeah, sort of like gabion, yeah, rock inside, and then water will seep into and then flow. Okay, doesn't have to be grass. It can also be made of rocks. Yeah. It's still do its work lah. Yeah. I think in Johor Bahru, in UTM, Skudai, there are several places that they do it like this. Yeah, I noticed it when I went there last time. Soft engineering. Okay, I heard this nice word when I visited Tasik Chini. Okay, this one we have covered this last time in hydrology class. Yeah, this term touch the earth lightly, so I will not go through again lah. Yeah, this you read yourself. Yeah? But hopefully, when you do your design, hopefully you will remember this word. Touch the earth lightly. Yeah. Okay, this is soft engineering. Yeah, you remember this one, hard engineering. Yeah, concrete lining, you have sheet pile. Yeah, so raw water will pass through. Yeah, this one is soft engineering. You have earth here and then you have grass, so water will pass through lah. Yeah, pass through, infiltrate into the ground. Yeah. Again, if the discharge is very, very big, yeah, the flow inside this Gombak River and Klang River is very big during heavy rain. Yeah, that's why you cannot use swale for cases like this. Yeah, it has to be like this lah. Yeah, this one you use if the Q is small. Yeah, Q is small, then it is okay. It will not cause erosion. Oil separator. Okay, you can read also. We have covered this before. How it functions lah. Concrete oil water separator. All these are considered BMPs, best management practices, because it is an improvement to previous way of doing things lah. Yeah. So you can see this very big. Yeah? This concrete oil water separator to separate oil from your water. Okay. Remember when we have restaurants, yeah, food court, yeah, or pasar malam, yeah, there are many food waste and grease from that area. Yeah, when you wash your hand after eating, there are many grease inside the water. So you collect all this water. You cannot channel all this water directly to the river. Yeah, it will dirtify the river. So you channel it to a system to remove the oil. Yeah? So here maybe the discharge from the restaurant, etc. You channel it to this oil water separator. So you remove the oil from the water, and then clean water you channel to the river. Okay, there are many ways of doing this. Yeah. Okay, this is another one, cross pollutant strap. Many people don't realize this, but we have many of this in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah. How it looks like? Okay, let's go through. Cross pollutant traps are structures that use physical processes to trap solid waste, such as litter and coarse sediment. Yeah. Okay, it will look like this. You read the details. It will look like this. Photos of GPT, like this. The public in Malaysia still not disciplined enough lah. Yeah, we throw rubbish everywhere. Yeah, sometimes you smoke cigarette and then you just throw the apa tu dia punya ujung tu. Yeah, so all this when it enter the river, it will dirtify the river lah. So to solve that problem, we can use GPT. Yeah, so when it rains, rainwater will flow on the road, yeah, on the ground, and then it will carry the rubbish. So you channel the flow into a GPT. So it will enter this as this dirty one. This is entrance. Yeah? Dirty water enter, and then there is a screen here. Rubbish will fall down and collected at the bottom here. So it will go around, and then clean water will flow out. Then you channel it to the river. So you trap all the rubbish in GPT. Okay, this is another figure. Red arrow indicates the inlet for inflow. So inlet with the rubbish. So it go around, the rubbish will be deposited at the bottom, and then the clean water will be released downstream. You can see here the rubbish, so much rubbish, especially bottled water, styrofoam, things like that. Yeah? Look at the entrance of water into GPT. Yeah? So much rubbish. Yeah? Normally they put this GPT under the road. Yeah? If you see a large ring, yeah, showing that large circle on the road, yeah, most likely underneath there is this GPT. Yeah. Okay, the basket at the bottom you can remove lah. You can lift it up. Yeah. This is I Google GPT method to remove sediment and rubbish from GPT. Of course, if you look here, it is not just rubbish. Yeah, this is also sediment. Yeah, they did not maintain it lah. Yeah, that is another bad thing. I mean, unfortunate things about Malaysia lah. Yeah, hopefully your generation you can improve it. Yeah, we must maintain our facilities. For this case, because the rubbish has not been removed for a long time, then sediment also enter into the GPT. So when they remove it, you can see it's filled up with sediment. Yeah. Okay, it is supposed to be removed periodically lah. They have to be regular interval of removal of the sediments. Okay, how do you do it? You remove using lifting crane. You can see the basket here. The crane lifted the basket and then bring it inside the lorry, yeah, and then the rubbish is allowed to be collected here. Yeah? Remove the rubbish here, and then you bring this to the landfill. Or you can also use suction. Of course, this will be more expensive lah. Yeah? So you suck the rubbish into the tank here, yeah? And then you dispose it in landfills. Okay, these are more of BMPs from MASMA. Yeah, I just put lah. We have also gone through this before lah. So this one I leave to you to read by yourself. Nothing much here. Wash trough. Okay, for your project, yeah, during construction, you definitely has to use wash trough or water trough. Okay, many students call this water trough. Yeah, it's not correct. Yeah. It is pronounced as TRAFF. Yeah, wash trough or water trough. What is it? Okay, when we have construction site in the city area, lorries leaving construction site need to pass through a water trough to remove dirt from its tire. Yeah? Water spray will also be used. The shape of a water trough is like this. Yeah? You concretize it and then you put water here. Then lorry will pass through. Then you spray lah. You also spray the water tire, yeah? Spray the tire, yeah, to remove sediments from the tires. Or like this. This is more advanced lah, yeah. Maybe if the project is large, many lorries pass through, then you can have a system like this. Normal case, there will be a worker lah, spraying water at the tires to remove the sediment. Okay, like this, yeah. You spray the tires to remove sediment. Otherwise, if you don't have this, then the sediment that is stuck to the tires will dirtify the road out of your project area. Then people will complain, and then you will get stop work order, yeah, or you will get a summons or something like a penalty, yeah. So follow the ESCP. Constructed ponds and wetlands. Okay, the benefit of wetlands. Okay, this one you baca yourself, you read yourself. Erosion and sediment control measures. Okay, more info here lah. The same thing I think is almost the same as what I shared earlier. Right? Okay, these are things you can do lah. Yeah? Silt trap. To trap silt, and then silt basket. They even have this. For a small trapping of sediments lah. Yeah. So many info there about BMP lah. BMP, best management practices, and also ESCP, erosion sediment control plan. What did I do? Oh my goodness, I closed the. Ayah, sekejap ya, one moment. Ada pening. I have shared all, I think 3, right? Let me go through. Tengok ada apa lagi tak? IDP1. Oh, last one, Masma. Okay, how many of us? 94. Okay, so I share the last slide. Okay, one person confirm for me. Can you see Masma?
Nampak, sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Nampak, Cik Zawi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Masma Manual Salera Mesra Alam, or if we translate into English, Malaysia Nature Friendly Drainage Manual. This one we already covered in detail last time in hydrology class. I will not go through in detail again lah. I just want to highlight the big points. Yeah. Again, Masma is introduced in year 2000. Okay, 1100 pages, 20 volume, 48 chapters. Yeah. And then in 2012. 12 years after the first Masma came out, DID came out with the second one, Masma second edition. Yeah, I believe you all have the soft copy for this Masma and Masma second edition. Yeah, so you need to go through lah to find to read the design. They put the sample calculation and the design in there. Yeah, so you have to read through it. You have to read it lah. Okay, why do DID produce Masma? Okay, I'll jump to the big point. Okay, if you look at the hydrograph is graph of Q, which is discharge versus time. If you look at this hydrograph, this low curve is your hydrograph before development. Yeah, before you do anything, it is filled with trees, grasses, shrubs, etc. The hydrograph will look like this, and then you develop it, you remove trees, you pave, you build roads, you put buildings, right? And then you measure, you produce the hydrograph. The hydrograph will be like this. Your Q will go up. Your Q peak will go up very high, and then it comes down very fast. Yeah? If you remember in hydrology exam 2 years ago, I think in exam I asked, what are the difference between these two hydrographs, before and after? Okay, the difference, number one, Q peak after is higher than Q peak before. Okay, time to peak after, which is from 0 to this, is shorter compared to time to peak before development. And then time for hydrograph to go up and down again for before development is longer compared to after development. And then the last one is volume of discharge, Q. Q is area under curve. For after development is much bigger to area under curve before development. Okay, so those are the 4 changes. What caused those changes? Okay, the reason is here. Increase in impervious area result in less infiltration and more rainfall becoming surface runoff. So bigger volume of water need to be drained. Yeah, that's why you need to prepare your new drainage. Yeah. Okay, number 2, better drainage system result in higher efficiency and faster flow. Water go up very fast, come down very fast. Yeah. So so that's why Masma was introduced. This is among reason why Masma was introduced. Okay, and then another point I said here is this. What is new in Masma? The biggest change is it make it mandatory. All development must ensure peak discharge after development less than before development. Okay, like this. Q peak after development must be less than Q peak before development. So DID make it mandatory. Yeah, for you to make sure your discharge from your project area after development less than before development. So let's say you do your calculation. This is before you can do your project lah. You have to do the calculation and then you submit it to the authority. Authority will check. If it is okay, then only they allow you to proceed. Otherwise, you cannot start your project. Okay. Okay. Let's say you do your calculation. This is your discharge before development. Okay. Then you calculate after development. It will be like this. Okay. Now your Q peak after development is higher than Q peak before, right? So you don't follow this. The idea already said Q peak after must be less than or equal before development. Otherwise, you cannot do the project. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to store this A. this whole volume of water you need to store where? In your detention pond. Okay. So that's why what new in MASMA, it force you to store that extra water due to your development. Where? In on-site detention. Okay, so you read this yourself. Okay, this is an example. Housing area. Now in Malaysia, every housing area you will have this low-lying area, which is detention pond. We call it on-site detention. For your project, you also need to have on-site detention. Okay, you put it at the lowest point in your project area, because all the water, all the rainwater from your project area must flow into your OSD. After that only it can flow out to the main drain outside of your project area or to the river. Because OSD has a function to reduce the flow and also to trap rubbish, to trap hydrocarbon, etc. Yeah? So that the water from your project area will be clean. Yeah? So your project, you need to have this OSD. Don't present during final presentation. We ask where is your OSD. You don't want to put. No, you have to put. Yeah. Okay, this is example of retention pond in Merdeka Garden. This is housing area. All the rainwater from the housing area flow into this. So you can imagine the rubbish all collected here. Yeah. So the flow inside the river, the water flowing into the river will be much cleaner. Okay, this is example. Another example of this is not detention pond. This is retention pond. Okay, so remember we have these two terms: retention pond and detention pond. What are the difference? Okay, let's go through. Okay, this is another detention pond for this housing project. Yeah. Detention pond and detention pond. Okay, here this is the explanation. Retention pond, it is like a lake and water always exists inside it even when there is no rain. Detention pond, it only has water when there is rain. When rain stops, water slowly go down and area become dry. Okay, so retention pond is long-term storage. Detention pond is short-term storage. Okay, remember Lake Kejuruteraan, is it retention pond or detention pond? Does it become dry? No. Right? So it's not dry, it is long-term storage. There is always water in there. Yeah? So it is retention pond. If it becomes dry after the rain stop, 2 or 3 hours after the rain stop, the pond become dry, then it is short-term storage. It is detention pond. Okay, this is an example of detention pond. Yeah? Short-term storage. This one, another short-term storage. Okay, in housing area, normally as I said earlier, they use the lowest area as a detention pond, and then they make it into a playground. Yeah, because when it rains, normally there will be no children playing there anymore, so they allow water to rise up at that detention pond. Yeah, not much rise up, but it will not cause people to drown. Yeah? It is only short-term storage. Okay, the rest you can read yourself. Okay, this one detention pond or retention pond. Of course, this is retention pond, long-term storage. Otherwise, you cannot have so many trees here. Yeah? Okay, this is MASMA manual. Yeah? When you download the soft copy, you can read. You will have this. This is MASMA 2000, yeah, MASMA 1. This is MASMA 2012, MASMA second edition. I mean the cover of it. Yeah. This is MASMA second edition 2012. Rain harvesting, this one really related. So you need to read. Yeah. Read the table of content, which one are related to you. Okay, there. Volume 16, construction, BMPs and plans. Okay, so go through, see what is here that you can adopt into your project. Okay, okay, this on-site detention, we covered this in hydrology last time. Yeah. Of course, this is in theory but for you to adopt in your project area, not suitable. Okay, it is best to use on-site detention. Yeah, on-site detention pond. That is the most economically suitable, most feasible economically. Remember, when you design, you also have to design on the criteria of cost. You don't want your cost to be very high. Okay, this sustainable drainage. Okay, this one you read yourself. Ini sama je. We already covered this. Apa lagi here? Because the file overlaps lah. Yeah, the file overlaps. Oh, the same thing. Oh, here you have the here you have this one. Remember we covered this in hydrology class last time. You want to build a 2-house semi-detached. Yeah? Let's look at the question. On-site infiltration trench proposed for a semi-detached bungalow in Ipoh, Perak. Okay, the condition is like this. Or you can see how the calculation was done. Yeah, you calculate the T before development, time of concentration, blah blah blah. Yeah, and then the water will be stored here in infiltration trench. Yeah, what is here actually is you remove the soil, you put sand. Yeah? So the water will flow into here and then infiltrate into the ground. Yeah? Okay, the calculation you do will, okay, these are part of the calculation. Remember this one, ln I, A, B, C, D. We did this last time, yeah, in hydrology class. So you calculate this and then you plot the hydrograph. It will be like this. This is the hydrograph before development. This is hydrograph after development. So this amount you store in your storage. So here it shows you the calculation, how you do it. Okay, so you can see the calculation done. Okay. Okay, this is another project. This is what project? Okay, community infiltration trench proposed for Sekolah Menengah Sri Ampang. Yeah. So this is much bigger project lah. Earlier just 2 house. Yeah. Here is a school. Okay. So you can see they do the calculation, and get this hydrograph. This is hydrograph before development, hydrograph after development. So you store this amount of water in your detention pond. Where? Here. This is the detention pond. So all the flow from your project area will flow into the pond. And then after that, it flow out into the main drain or into the river. Okay. Apa lagi here? Tak ada lah, I think. Masma, okay, masma, and then something we have covered lah before. This is the polynomial, yeah. Because for you, you need to calculate again, yeah. Your project area now is not. When we do this one last time, apa ya? We use Ipoh, right? For your project area, it is in UKM, so you need to get rainfall data from Kajang station, Kajang rainfall station. Okay, the rest you read yourself lah, yeah. Okay. This one we already covered in hydrology. I just want to refresh, to recap again je. Letihnya banyak topik. So many we covered today. Actually, there is another PowerPoint. I will see next time. Maybe if there is other lecturer, I can join in tempel lah, basically. Because I want to cover that one also. That one slide showing you the importance of ESCP, Erosion Sediment Control Plan. Okay, we are now, how many of us? 94. Okay lah, yeah, almost everybody. And time is 3:47. I will unshare this one. Okay, class, we come to the end of our class. Any question? Hopefully you all are there. We don't want you to
Yeah,
okay, good.
What is the UCAN folio to update? The UCAN folio update. I mean the name list, group list.
I cannot hear you clearly. Can you say again?
When is the UCAN folio to update the list for the group?
When we can update?
I write in the chat.
Okay.
I think Jalan mean because you can follow, you got update the name list of our group, right? So actually the group list is actually last year, not ours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Isaac will do that. We already prepared the new groupings, but I think he will share in WhatsApp group lah. But later we will also upload at UKM Folio. Yeah. But you have to let us know lah. Yeah. If you still don't receive it, let us know in our WhatsApp group. Yeah. Don't hesitate to ask there, because sometimes lecturers have 2-3 courses going, right? So we miss we forgot certain things, so you need to remind us. Okay, so I will inform Dr. Isaac to share the groupings. It has been done actually, because we want to pass to you, so you can check if there is mistake, if there are people who are not in any group, things like that. Yeah? Okay, any other question? Chat ada tak? Ada soalan tak tadi? Meeting started tak ada. Okay, class, any other questions? Tak ada ya?
Tak ada.
Tak ada, Cik Zawawi.
Okay, thank you. Bersemangat sekali. Okay lah, so if there are no questions, we end the class lah. Yeah? Again, we have apa tu? Our class is Monday and Friday, right? Dr. Azhar already informed you. We will not utilize all. Yeah? He will let you know lah. Most likely we will use the Monday slot. Yeah? And Friday, most of the time we will not use that one. Yeah? Unless if the invited lecturer cannot do it on Monday, then we have no choice lah, but to shift it to Friday. Yeah? Because Friday 1 hour is too short. Okay, thank you everybody. I consider everybody attending lah last because earlier I saw 96, yeah, 96 attendance. I tadi lupa nak ambil. Lupa nak ambil attendance. Okay, tak apalah. Okay, yeah, class. Thank you for joining, and do not miss your IDP classes. And hopefully, thank you. Hopefully, all of you have.
Thank you, sir.
Hopefully all of you have started looking at the the 3D model, yeah, the software, yeah. At least remember you allocate 5 hours per week for IDP, yeah. So that's what you can do lah, besides reading my topic today. Okay, thank you. We can start leaving now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.